Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are making the gorgeous little turkey coaster that you see right here, right now. Is it not simply divine? I love his little feet. He's so cute. Alright, so I got so sidetracked there, guys. What you will need for your tutorial today will be yarn. You will need very minimal of each colour. Now let's just talk quickly about that green. It was like a piece of thread like that. You know, maybe a little bit longer, yeah. The yellow, I used all of 1 gram and maybe less than a gram, again, like a piece of thread like that. The orange, I did use between 1 and 2 grams, not much, yeah. The green was an accident. I decided to put green on his eye. I didn't have any black on me at that moment and I wasn't going to give him an eye, and at the last minute, in the middle of the tutorial, I say, oh look, I had some green on me, let's pop that on. And that was like this much. The red, once again, don't you love it, is between 1 and 2 grams. And this guy right here, I think I only used about 3 grams for him. Okay, that's just for the centerpiece and the head. All right, so you will need very minimal. Great stash busting project, very exciting. This yarn here is an 8-ply or a DK weight or a 3 weight overseas. However, you could use the 4 weight. You could use a thicker yarn. Now I used wool because I didn't have any cotton in stock, but my suggestion would be to use cotton for a coaster. If you have wool or acrylic and that's all you have, by all means you can use that too. All right, so I use the light 3 weight. So for those of you overseas who are using yours, you could actually use the 3 weight or you could use the 4 weight. Your coaster will be a tiny little bit bigger and it's still okay. All right, so you can use a 4 weight with your 5mm hook. Okay, but for us, I used a 4.5mm hook for the actual coaster itself. I used the 3.5mm hook for the little feet. I can't remember if I used it for that too. I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. If I haven't said it, I'll pop a little disclaimer up during the tutorial and let you know whether I used the smaller hook. So 3.5 for the smaller pieces that you see there. Otherwise, it'll be too bulky, yeah. I did use the 4.5 for this part. It does look better. I love it very much. I'm not going to talk now. I'm just going to let you get started. You will need your scissors. You will need that sewing needle. You're going to have like 1,000,001 ends, yeah. You will need 1 stitch marker and of course your 2 hooks. All right, I'm not going to talk anymore. I do want to say one last thing, that the tutorial did have a lot of noise with builders in this one. So I did do some voiceover in certain areas that the noise was so bad I felt the house shake. All right, they're not our builders, they're the neighbors' builders, but that was so loud. So you may find it'll go in and out with the sound and you will actually hear my voice sounding a little tiny bit different, but not much, just very little. All right, so that's all I want to say about that. I'm not going to let you sit here and listen to me talk anymore. I'm going to let you get started creating your gorgeous little turkey coaster. Good luck all. This is an 8-ply DK weight or a 3 weight yarn. If you were going to use a 10-ply or a 4 weight yarn, your piece will come out much bigger. All right, it doesn't matter because coasters can be any size you want them to be, so focus on that. Now normally for this thread it calls for a 4mm hook, yeah, but today I'm going to use a 4.5 for the main body just to give it a little bit more width, and then I will change to a 3.5 for the beak. And I'm not sure about the little red, I don't know what you want to call it, the gobble gobble under the beak. I don't know what it's called. Don't you love it? She doesn't know what it's called. I just made the turkey sound, but I don't know what it's called. But anyway, moving right along. Don't you love her? She just doesn't know what she's doing. Alrighty guys, we're going to start off by making a magic loop. And to do that, you need to pop your tail end of your yarn in front, 2 fingers or 3 fingers, yeah. Wrap your working end of your yarn right around your fingers, forming a little X, if you will, right there. Grab your 4.5 or whatever hook you're using for the body of your turkey. So pop your hook under the first loop, grab that back loop and pull it up. and through. And you have the 1, and then the 2 in front. You need to grab everything like that. All right. From here, we are going to chain 2. Yarn over your hook, pull a loop through once, yarn over twice, and they're chains. All right. Now we're going to do a double crochet US treble UK in the center of our magic loop, making sure you don't let go of this magic loop yet. Okay, so yarn over your hook, pop your hook in the center, pull a loop through like so, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And now you can actually close that center, but only a little bit because we need to fill it up with another 11 double crochets US or trebles UK. Before you do anything though, I would like for you to pop a stitch marker in the top of that stitch that you just made, and that's the top 2 loops of that stitch, ignoring the chain 2. We are ignoring the chain 2 in this tutorial. All right, it's not a stitch, it just sits there and blocks off any gaps that you may see. All right, so now we're going to do another 11 double crochet US or 11 trebles UK, and off we go. Yarn over our hook in the space, and you are crocheting over 2 threads at a time. Pull your loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. If you don't do this, when we go to close up our magic loop, it won't close. So make sure you are crocheting over both your tail and your working yarn. All right, so that's 1 and 2. We need 12 altogether. Off we go, doing our third one. And 12. So we have now done our 12 stitches. To make sure that we have done 12 stitches, you need to count these little tiny V's that you see right here. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then you've got your last one right there, which is 12. Before you continue, you want to grab your tail, that little tail we've been crocheting over, grab it and close it up, and that's where your magic becomes the magic loop, yeah? And then what you want to do is slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. Remove that stitch marker if it helps while you're doing that. Pull it through like so. Chain 1 and 2. By the way, that was your first round. Double crochet US treble UK in the same space as your chain 2. You will start your rounds exactly the same. All right, I'm rushing this, guys, because those neighbors are making way too much noise, but there we go. Moving right along, 2 double crochets into every stitch. We're only putting 1 here. The chain 2 will not act as a stitch. Okay, so we will place another double crochet at the end of this round. For now, we are popping 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet US treble UK, 2 into the second stitch, 2 into your next, 2 into every stitch all the way across. Super easy, yeah? I'm going to pop this on fast, and off we go, popping 2 double crochets into every stitch. And 2, and I have 1 last stitch to go. You might have seen me put 3 over here by mistake, and I had to take it undone, but there you go. So let's pop 2 into your last stitch. I got crochet happy, guys, as you do. All right, so you should have, remember we had 12 in the base round, you should now have 24 in this round, but only 23 because our 24th stitch we're going to pop in there now. So count your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 and 23. And now we are going to pop our 24th in the same stitch where our work first started. So into there, pop your last double crochet like so, and you are going to slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. Doing it this way with your double crochet at the end of the round, you don't see any gaps here. So your center, your circle or your round part of it just looks like a complete round circle. All right. So now what you're going to do, this is your third round. Chain 1 and 2. Once again, it doesn't count as anything. Double crochet in the same space. Super, super easy this round, just like the last one. A little different, of course, because with this round, your increases will not be 2 in each stitch. There'll be 1 in the first one, 2 into your next one. 1 and 2. 1 into your next one, 2 into your next one. 1 and 2. Do you get the picture? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around. So 1 into your next, 2 into your next. All right, not going to let you sit here and watch me do this. You can do that yourself off air. So all you need to do is go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way in the round. Your very last stitch right there, I will meet you there. That should be 1. Meet me there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of this round. And I'm going to do my last stitch in the very last space there, or the last stitch there. And before we slip stitch to join, just count your stitches. Right now you should have 35 stitches, so count them. I've counted mine off air. We're going to do our 36th stitch in that first space. But before we do anything, what I want you to do is turn over real quickly, grab your sewing needle. We're going to weave that center thread in. Now before you also do, pop a little stitch marker. It just helps you to stop you from losing your thread. Pop a little stitch marker in your loop. So if anyone comes around or if we pull it while we're working, it won't come undone. All right, just a little tip there. A couple of tips in this tutorial. Get excited. We're going to slip stitch, try that again. We're going to weave our needle through the center of our piece, making sure you can't see the needle from the front. Don't let anyone tell you this thread won't come undone. It will, because it's not knotted. So you're going to have to weave that end in. If you've cut yours, just be wary you pop this in the washer machine or even wash by hand, that center can come undone. Perfect. You can do it again if you like, but I think that's plenty. 3, 4 times, 5, it doesn't matter, whatever suits you, but make sure you weave that end in. It can come undone. Again, before you slip stitch to join, before we put a double crochet and then slip stitch to join, find your cup. If you are using a 10 ply or an Aran weight, you might find that yours is ready. Mine is nowhere near ready. We're going to have to do another round, all right? But if yours is ready, go to that time there and continue making your turkey. But for the rest of us, we are going to do a double crochet in that very first stitch that we started in, like so, and then slip stitch to join. Such an easy round, this one. It's very similar to the last. You chain 1 and 2, double crochet in the same space like so. She's rushing, guys, rushing, because the last bits are a bit more trickier. This is the easy part. Oh, this is the easy part. All right, so now you're going to, before you did 1 and then 2 double crochets, 1, 2 double crochets. Now you're going to go 1, 1, 2 double crochets in the third, 1, 1, 2 double crochets in the third. All right, so your first thing you do is 1 into the first, 1 into your second, 2 double crochets into your third, 1 and 2. All right, so 1 into your first, 1 into your second, and then 2 into your third, 1 and 2. All right, another little tip, we're filled with tips in this tutorial. Every time you do your 1, 1 and you want to put a second one in, that's in between the 2 double crochets from your previous round. So it's 1, 1, 2 into the center, 1, 1, 2 into the center, but not the center of the posts, just the stitch. All right, so 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, all the way in the round. Get here and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of 1, 2, 3, 4th round. She's almost forgetting, guys. And what you will have now, I've got one more stitch to go. You would have ended off with your last 2 singles, so 1, 1, and then you're going to complete having 2 into the next. You've got 1 there, and again the chain 2 is not counted. So we're popping a double crochet in that stitch right there. Slip stitch to join. Get excited, guys. Pull up a loop before you do. Just remove your stitch marker. If you are not happy with the size and you would like to do another round, what you need to do is a double crochet, you chain 2 double crochet, and then you go 1, 2, 3, and then 2 into the next. 1, 2, 3, 2 into the next. 1, 2, 3, 2 into the next. All right, so if you are wanting to do another round, but for me, I'm happy with this size. All right, what you should have in the round is 48 stitches. Okay, if you don't have that, just check where you went wrong. If you can't notice the difference, just leave it as it is. What we're going to do now is, ta-da, cut it. And we're going to weave that end in as we weaved the first end in. But what I want you to do is just grab your, I might be shouting at the camera, guys. I just don't want you to hear that, those neighbors making all that noise. That's just the way it is, guys. So grab your little tail. That's the right side of our work that we've been working on. Grab your little tail and just find a little stitch at the back. I usually go into the very back stitch there. Pop your needle through like so, and the actual thread comes down. Don't worry too much about it. If you can see the knot here, we're going to be crocheting over that area anyways, but it's not that visible. All right, it's really not that visible. If you find that knot is too much, great. This is what I've done in the past. I don't do it very often. Grab your needle and pop it through the back of the stitch like so. If you find it's too much, I wouldn't do this though, because it does change the look of your work. Yeah, and then go back down into the stitch that you went into before, very gently, and it kind of changes the look of your work there. Not necessary for you to do that. I just wanted to show you for the sake of showing you. And then you take your little guy. These are little tips that sometimes I use, and it works with some things. It doesn't work with cotton too well, but it does work with wool and acrylic. So I just found a little bit of thread. I'm going to pull my thread down like so, not too hard, don't pull like that, and then just go down into the very next round row, if you will, whichever you want to call it. It's a round actually, and then slip stitch into your threads this way. Alright, and then we're going to cut our piece. So you will find that this tutorial will go in and out of silence and you know, loud at the same time because of that noise that they're making next door. Alright, so what you need to do now is grab some orange. Yay, get excited. And this is what I mean by that's going to be covered, yeah? Now you can start anywhere you like, but I'm going to start in the stitch just before our work there. All right, so pop your yarn over your hook, pull your loop through like so, grab your tail, passing it forward, chaining 1 and 2, and in the same space you're putting 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, let's make that 4 double crochets. No, sorry, 3 double crochets. I was right the first time, and a half double crochet. So your half double crochet is yarn over your hook in the space. Notice I'm crocheting over my tail. In the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And you didn't need to put any stitch markers in this, yeah? So all you're going to do now is that stitch that right there, you're going to really tight that area. If you started over here, it'd be easy for you. So what you're doing is skipping your first stitch, jumping into that next stitch, which is the double crochet right there. Jump into the next stitch, pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. And now you're going to do a half double crochet, not in that first stitch you come to, but the very next one. Half double crochet, so you're skipping 1, half double crochet into the next, like so. 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. And oops, and a half double crochet in the same space. All right, skip 1, slip stitch into the next, like so. Yeah, skip 1, half double crochet into the very next. Oops, let's try that again. That didn't work. Where am I? We're in there. Skip 1, half double crochet into the next. 1, and then 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to do exactly the same. Skip 1, jump into the next with a slip stitch. Yarn over your hook, skip 1, and another set just like this of half double crochet, 3 double crochets. So you did your half double and you have 1, 2, and 3 double crochets, and then another half double crochet like so. Skip 1, slip stitch right into the very next like so. Pull up your loop, give your work a cut. We'll talk about weaving that end in later. All right, so that's done. Move your orange and restart with your brown again. But before we do, we're not going to do any tails, we're going to do them later. This was our last stitch there. We're going to count 7 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Pop your hook in that 7th stitch. Grab your yarn, yes, pop it through like so. Grab the tail, passing it forward, chaining 1 and 2. You're going to pop a double crochet in there, 1, a second one, 2, and then you're going to pop a half treble. That's half treble US, half double treble UK. So that's yarn over your hook, in the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through just the first one, 3 loops again, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And now you're going to do a treble. That's treble US, double treble UK. Yarn over your hook twice. In the space, pull a loop through. You have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through another 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. We're going back to a half treble. Yarn over your hook. In the space, pull a loop through. 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 1, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and now 2 doubles, 1 and 2, and then you're going to do a half double, 3 loops all the way through 3, But now you're going to pop a single crochet in there. So pop your hook in, pull a loop through, tighten it up, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, grab that tail, pop it at the back now, go and slip stitch right into the very next stitch, pop your hook in, pull a loop through, pull a loop through like so, pull up your loop, give it a cut. You're going to have a lot of threads to weave in, but trust me, this is going to look gorgeous. All right, so there you go. That so far is the back, and that is his head. We're going to work on his little feet now. Grab your yellow, and this is where your best bid would be to drop your hook size. I didn't get you to drop your hook size here because it is okay for it to be nice and full, but his little feet, you know, he needs really tiny feet, so we've got to go ahead and do that now. So you can decide where you want your feet to go, and to be fair, it might pay to just pop in some stitch markers where you think you'd like them to go. So I'm using yellow for the sake of using yellow. So there you go. All right, so you can decide if that's where you want them, if you want his feet to go a bit further over here or there. I think that is perfect. Not even in frame. Yeah, so just grab your yellow and just turn this guy upside down. He's now upside down. Pop your hook in that, and if you want to know where I put it, just so that you can see, I count 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 5th stitch I placed 1, and then I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We might pop it in the 5th stitch as well. All right, so really count 10 back. I should have just told you to do that. Pop your thread over your hook, pull the loop through like so, grabbing your tail, pop it over your work, chaining 1. Now your job is to chain 2 and 3. Better make it 4. So we're doing 4 across. Notice how I'm making this up as I go along, yeah? Hook in that top loop. We're going to slip stitch across. Pull the loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Slip stitch into the very next stitch right there. Pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Right into the very next one. If I can get it in. 3 slip stitches across. Then you slip stitch back into your piece, the very first stitch you started with. All right, and then you chain 1, 1, 2, and 3. Sorry, 4, and do exactly the same. Slip stitch 3 across. 1, 2 and 3 like that. Just going to pop that tail at the back, it's too confusing, yeah, and then slip stitch back into the same stitch that you are in like so, and then you're doing another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, slip stitch 3 across. 1, 2 and 3, slip stitch back into that space that we first started with, pull up your loop, give it a cut, and your first little foot is done right there. All right, so now your job is to do the other foot exactly the same. Well, the other little paw, or whatever you want to call it, his little feet. Oh, so cute. I love those little feet. All right, so do one more there. Meet me back here once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are with our other foot done. We're going to worry about weaving in ends later. However, what I do want you to do, just so that this is not in front, we're going to work on his little beak now. So that it's not in front, just grab your hook and pull, let's try it again. Grab your hook in there and just pull that thread through the back, just where the base hole was. next to it. I'll move this little tail at the back right there. See that little space there? It's just to get it out of the way, because now we're going to work here and we're going to start on his beak. And what I want you to do is go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in your 7th stitch right there, you're going to pop your hook in there and you're going to make his little beak. So pop your hook, your yarn over your hook, pull a loop through. Just grab your little tail, passing it forward, chaining 1, single crochet in the same stitch, like so. You can pop a stitch marker there if you like, it's up to you. We're going to single crochet into the 2nd stitch, crocheting over your tail a little bit, like so. Pop that tail at the back, slip stitch down into that 3rd stitch. Pull the loop through like so, and just pull it through to the loop on your hook. With this beak, you just want a very little one, okay? So pulling that loop up, giving it a cut. A lot of people do make the beak a little bigger, like they will actually put a little point on there. If you want to, you can. I'm not going to. We're going to pop that tail at the back in a minute, but for now, we'll just leave it there. All right, now we have done our beak, we're going to work on the red, okay? So popping your hook in the same stitch as your yellow, or the beak, yeah. This is not in the main colour, it's up on the yellow. So grab your red, pull it through like so. And just passing the tail forward just for a minute until we lock it into place. Chain 1. In that yellow, we are slip stitching like so. Now, what I want you to do is make sure all your threads are at the back. Have I split the yarn? Yes, I have. Excuse me, Mary. So make sure all your threads are at the back. We will have to be weaving in lots of ends here. And in that next stitch right there, it's a stitch in between your head and the base of your work. I know you've got your tail there, don't worry about that tail. You're going to do a single crochet. So it's really, really tight. Pull your loop through like so. There. Single in your next stitch. Single in your next stitch. Chain 1. Turn your work. Single in that same stitch you are in. Single in your 2nd stitch. Single in that stitch right there, slip stitch into the very first stitch we created on the yellow. Chain 1, turn your work, we're almost done guys. Slip stitch into that first stitch like that, single into your next one, single into the next one, 2, single into your 3rd one, 3, and then turn your work to the side, pop a 2nd single crochet in there, and the 3rd one, and then 1 single crochet kind of in that space. All right, it's almost around. You can also put it in the actual thread, but I'd rather go right into the space, so single crochet there, slip stitch into the same stitch that your work is in, pull a loop through like so, pull up a loop, cut your thread. Get excited guys. Yeah, I didn't mention that we were going to use black, okay, but if you wanted to give him, yeah, an eye, you can. So you can pop an eye on him up there. So what we're going to do now is flip our little guy and weave in these gazillion ends. We're not going to do that together. I'm going to show you one and you're going to do the rest off air because this, you don't want to watch me doing this. This will really bore you. So we're going to try one of these ones here. That's a little awkward. You know that one right there that's sticking out? It'll show you what to do with all the other ones that are sticking out. So just grab the yellow. This is not a very good needle. It's a really thick needle, so it might be an issue. So you've got your knot sticking out there. I think your best bid is to just pop it through a back loop in one of your little feet there. Anywhere you can, right? Pop it through that little back loop like so. and it'll hide at the back. All right, and you can do the same with all the other ones, and while you're doing that, you can just like find places to weave it in. So there's the third one. You can do 2 if you like, whatever suits you. If you know it's not going to come undone in the wash, by all means, just do the 2. All right, so now the builder's finished making noises. Don't you love it? Right at the very end of our tutorial. But anyway, see, that came up real pretty. You need to weave in all the other ends, and that is that. But before we go, I'm sorry, I do want to show you one more end. And the reason is I'm finding that really solid here. So you're going to, it's a big gap, yeah? So what you're going to do is just, it might just be my stitches that are a little bit loose, but anyway, you might want to weave in that area so that it closes up the gap a little. You can do that. It's very simple. I'll show you how. It's a little trick you use when you're making amigurumi and things like that. So you just go into a back stitch somewhere first, because you want to get your tail to the back, yeah? And this is where all your little gaps are. If you want to fill in those gaps, it's a little awkward to do, but it can be done. It's almost like you're adding an extra stitch. So let's just go through another thread first, like so. And then the base thread right here is a little tip that I don't usually show people, but there you go. The base, oh, this is a little tip. Oh gosh. Base thread, yeah. Go back to the base thread on this one right here. And then it's almost already closing up for you. You can pass your thread through the middle stitch, but at the back of that gapped area. This is not necessary. This is a little tip that I do sometimes when I've got too many gaps. Now, if you look carefully, already that gap has been filled up. All right, if you find this gap too much, so now you're up here and there's another gap there, you're going to do the same. You're going to pop your needle through one of the stitches there, yeah? See that gap? I'll show you what happens when I pull that thread through. It covers the gap a little more. All right, so to cover it more, if you want to keep covering it, you're just going to go over to the base of the stitch just before it, pull that thread through, and let's see. And there you go. If you still find that tiny little gap annoying, find it. Go over to it, which is there, and go right across to another stitch, just a little loop at the back. Right, there's your little gap right there. We'll pull that stitch through and that gap is almost gone. All right, so if you find that little gap still annoying, you can continue doing that. The reason that gap is a little annoying is because we've got the grey that we need to weave that end in. Once you weave that end in, it'll close the gap up a little bit. All right, there's a lot of stitching there, so that's another reason. So you just keep weaving that end in. Now you're done. Just find some places where you want to weave your end in. Make sure, I think that went through, but we'll see. No, good. Make sure you can't see the needle from the front. I'm going to leave it there. It came undone anyway, but I'm going to leave it there. We've put it through a lot of those little threads, so it's not going to come undone. I didn't want to show you that, but I thought, you know what? A little tip every now and then is good for you. Yep, to know. And there you go. And you've got that guy. Now with this one here, if you find this space really big, do the same with these grey threads. Fill up the space. If you find the space is too big, all right, but there you go, guys. You can pop a little black thread up here, around here somewhere, if you want to give him an eye. You know what? I've got some green. Let's give him an eye. We're going to sew it on. Yeah, you just give him an eye. You can use the black if you like, but I've just found some green. It was in the same bag as all these colours, and sometimes doing something different is not. It's not going to hurt you. Find your. Where you would like his eye to go, I don't know. Let's turn it this way, the wrong side. That's where we're going to pop our thread. And you're just going to find a stitch somewhere, right over it, not on top of the beak, but right there. I reckon his eye can go there. Just pop it through like that. Again, you're going to leave yourself a long tail for weaving in. Yep. And then you just go down into the base of the stitch, which is right there. Anywhere you like. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. That's not much, so we're going to go into the very next stitch, but it will help close up that gap too. I didn't go through the stitch properly there. Let's turn it over so I can see what I'm doing. Go into the very next stitch up the top there. Yep. Go down that stitch into the base there. Yep. Doesn't look like an eye yet, does it? So now you're going, where are we? We're going into the actual stitch. Cross over to the other stitch. All right, it's crossing over that gives the eye the look. Go into that top stitch where we first started or around that area. And once again, you can cross over to the other stitch and there's your little eye. If you want to give him an eye and you think that's not dark enough, do it again. It's not going to hurt. Find another space somewhere and go across the other way. There's no right or wrong way of doing his eye. I like it like that. It's starting to look all right, yeah? And I just don't think it's dark enough. I probably should have used a black. If you've got a black in stock, guys, use your black. So I'm just filling up that whole space. There we go. There we go. And there's an eye. All right? You don't have to do that. It's not necessary. I did it to do it. Weave that end in and you are done with your little turkey coaster. Ta-da! There it is, all weaved in. I didn't want to show you the ends. It would have taken 100 years, but I've weaved in all my ends. And as you can see, I filled up the little gap that was there. Wasn't necessary. I did it anyways. You don't need to do it. It was a little tip that I don't usually tell anyone. So you're very lucky in this tutorial, including a tip that doesn't leave my home. So there you go. In the meantime, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Do all the wonderful things that you guys do for me. And to my USA viewers, happy Thanksgiving for this Thursday. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Mary and this is Wow Crochet Designs. Ciao for now.